welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to make sourdough stuffing for Thanksgiving or any time of year that you're craving sourdough stuffing. Sourdough stuffing is basically just sourdough bread with veggies on the stove, really good seasonings and flavor, so I don't see why you wouldn't have it any other time of the year. So to get started, I'm going to make a sourdough bread loaf. Now if you're new to sourdough, I have a tutorial on how to make sourdough starter and sourdough bread. I also have an einkorn bread recipe, so we do like to use einkorn. It's really tasty, it's healthier for you. But I'm going to start this the day before so that I have time to let my dough ferment and get all the benefits of long fermentation. It strips away some of the phytic acid in the grain, so it's easier to digest. A lot of people who have grain sensitivities can tolerate sourdough better. Einkorn is also an ancient grain, so it is non-hybridized, which means that the grain is in its original form, which is also easier to digest. So all that to say, if you can make a sourdough einkorn loaf for this stuffing, that would be perfect. Or of course you can make a regular sourdough loaf. Now you can also buy a sourdough loaf from the store if you don't want to go through this process and cut it up like we're going to do in a bit. My daughter's helping me here and she's making a pumpkin face on the sourdough bread, which I thought was pretty cute and worked out pretty well. So you go triangle, go one, there we go. So what you're going to do is cut up this sourdough loaf into very small cubes, about ½ an inch, no bigger than ½ an inch in size. This is the hardest part and takes the longest amount of time. Whenever we have Thanksgiving and I make this for my family, my dad or my husband are always the ones who cut this for me because I like to be working on something else while they're doing it, and it's just a very simple task. And my husband and my dad are both really good at, when I say ½ an inch, they are really good at that. I'm going to toast this bread and put it in the oven with some olive oil and some salt so that it gets nice and crisp. So that way when I go to add the vegetables and the flavor and seasoning, these stay crisp, so they're not going to get soggy. Side note, I actually do this all the time with my bread when I'm doing a roasted chicken at home for dinner. And then we put, actually I do bigger cubes, but we put those cubes in the roasting tray to soak up the juices from the chicken. And it is so delicious. So in my cast iron skillet, I'm gonna add my vegetables. Now I'm adding onion, garlic, mushroom, celery, and chopped herbs. I'm also adding bone broth and a lot of butter. And the flavors of this are just so good with the butter and the broth and the herbs. Now you can also add a seasoning, like we like Kinder's seasoning called the blend. It's like a salt, garlic, pepper, really standard seasoning, but it's really good on everything. So if you were just trying to make this more simple, you can go ahead and just season it with whatever seasoning you like. A whole loaf of sourdough bread will get you 2 skillets worth of stuffing. I cut this in half because I was only serving my family here, so I did 1 skillet of stuffing, but even that whole skillet of stuffing that I'm making now lasted us for 2 dinners. So this goes a long way, which is why I love it. So my bread is done now. I'm going to put it in the skillet with those vegetables. I'm adding broth, some more seasoning, herbs. I also whisk up an egg and pour that inside, which just kind of brings everything together with a nice texture. I preheat the oven to 350, put the skillet in the oven, let it roast for 15 minutes, and a delicious sourdough stuffing is born. You can find this recipe as well as my simple from scratch Thanksgiving dinner menu at the link below. I have a free ebook with a bunch of my favorite Thanksgiving recipes, including this one. You can go and download it and print it off for a pretty countertop recipe book, or keep it on your phone for easy viewing. There's no advertisements, it's just all right there. It's already made for you. You can just keep it for your Thanksgiving meal prep, and I'll leave a link to grab that below. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for stopping by the Duvall Homestead.